Beloved devotees, seekers of truth, children of the Divine Mother, I come before you today not to discourage you, but to illuminate the path ahead. The journey to God realization is the most glorious adventure a soul can undertake, yet it is fraught with subtle dangers that can delay your progress for incarnations. Just as a traveler must know the pitfalls along the road, so must the spiritual aspirant understand the obstacles that lie between the soul and its ultimate union with the infinite. I have walked this path. I have stumbled. I have risen again. And through the grace of my guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, and the lineage of masters before him, I have learned to recognize these impediments that keep souls bound to the wheel of Maya, the cosmic delusion. Today, I share with you 9 obstacles that you must vigilantly guard against if you wish to reach the shores of enlightenment in this very lifetime. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please give me a like, comment below about your thoughts, and hit subscribe button so you don't miss video about enlightened path like this. The obstacle number 1. Spiritual materialism. Collecting techniques without practicing them. How many of you have shelves filled with spiritual books? How many have attended countless lectures, learned numerous meditation techniques, and accumulated mantras like a merchant accumulates goods? This, my dear ones, is what I call spiritual materialism, the ego's clever disguise in holy garments. The mind loves to collect. It loves to know. But knowing about God is not the same as knowing God. You can read every scripture ever written, memorize every Yoga Sutra, and still remain as far from enlightenment as the East is from the West. Why? Because intellectual understanding without practice is like studying the menu without eating the meal. Your hunger remains unsatisfied. I tell you truthfully, one technique practiced with devotion and regularity is worth more than 100 techniques merely learned. When I teach you the Kriya Yoga technique, I am not giving you another item to add to your spiritual collection. I am giving you a key, but you must use that key daily, turning it in the lock of your consciousness until the door to the divine swings open. Do not be like the man who owns 1,000 keys but never opens a single door. Choose your path, choose your technique, and practice it with the intensity of a drowning man gasping for air. This is the way. The obstacle number 2. Restlessness. The monkey mind that cannot sit still. Oh, how the modern world has intensified this ancient problem. Restlessness is the great enemy of meditation. It is the static that prevents you from tuning into the cosmic radio broadcast of divine bliss that is always transmitting, always available, always waiting for you to receive it. Your mind jumps from thought to thought like a monkey jumping from branch to branch in the jungle. What shall I eat for dinner? Did I lock the door? What did that person mean by their comment? I must remember to. On and on it goes, this endless chattering that drowns out the still, small voice of God within. Restlessness is not merely a mental condition, it is a spiritual disease. It keeps you on the surface of consciousness, never allowing you to dive deep into the ocean of peace that lies within. And what feeds this restlessness? Excessive sensory stimulation, lack of routine, irregular habits, too much talking, too much activity without purpose. The remedy, dear ones, is regularity and discipline. Meditate at the same time each day. Create a sacred space in your home where the vibrations of your devotion accumulate. Practice pranayama to calm the life force. And most importantly, learn to watch your restless mind without identifying with it. Say to yourself, I am not this restless mind. I am the peaceful soul behind it. When restlessness comes during meditation, and it will come, do not fight it violently. That only creates more disturbance. Instead, deepen your breath, relax your body, and gently, lovingly, bring your attention back to the point between the eyebrows, the seat of spiritual vision. Again and again, with patience and persistence, bring the wandering mind home. The obstacle number 3, spiritual pride, the ego wearing a halo. This is perhaps the most insidious obstacle of all, for it masquerades as spiritual advancement. How many times have I seen sincere seekers fall into this trap? They meditate regularly, they have spiritual experiences, they gain some knowledge, and then slowly, subtly, the ego creeps in and claims these achievements as its own. I am more spiritual than others. The ego whispers. I meditate 2 hours daily while others waste their time. I understand truths that ordinary people cannot grasp. I am special. And with these thoughts, all spiritual progress stops. The door to higher consciousness slams shut. For God cannot enter where ego sits on the throne. Remember this always. Any spiritual advancement you make is not your achievement. It is God's grace working through you. The moment you think, I am enlightened, you prove that you are not. True spiritual advancement brings humility, not pride. It brings the recognition that you are nothing and God is everything. I have seen people with genuine spiritual gifts become utterly useless to God because of pride. They become like beautiful flowers that have lost their fragrance. Better to be a simple, humble devotee who knows nothing but loves God with all their heart than to be a learned yogi puffed up with spiritual pride. The antidote? Constant self-examination. When you notice pride arising, immediately offer it to God. Say, Lord, even this pride is yours. I am nothing. You are everything. Work through me as you will. And serve others humbly, remembering that the same divine consciousness that dwells in you dwells in all beings. The obstacle number 4. Attachment to spiritual experiences. Mistaking the signpost for the destination. Many seekers become trapped in this obstacle. They have a beautiful meditation, they see divine light, they feel overwhelming bliss, they hear the cosmic sound, and then they spend months or years trying to recreate that experience. They become addicted to spiritual phenomena, forgetting that these experiences, while wonderful, are not the goal. Listen carefully. Spiritual experiences are like signposts along the highway telling you that you are going in the right direction. They are encouragements from God, saying, yes, my child, you are on the path. Keep going. But if you stop at every signpost and refuse to move forward, you will never reach your destination. The goal is not experiences. The goal is permanent transformation of consciousness. The goal is to become established in the awareness that you are not the body, not the mind, not the emotions, but the eternal, blissful soul, one with God. This is enlightenment. This is liberation. I have known meditators who had profound experiences in their early practice, and then spent decades chasing those same experiences, never progressing beyond that point. They became spiritual experience junkies, always seeking the next high, the next vision, the next phenomenon. This is a trap. Instead, receive spiritual experiences with gratitude when they come, but do not cling to them. Do not make them the focus of your practice. Focus instead on deepening your love for God, on purifying your heart, on serving others selflessly. The experiences will come and go, but the transformation of your consciousness, that is permanent. The obstacle number 5. Inconsistency, the stop-and-start approach to spiritual practice. How many times have I heard this story? Guruji, I meditated intensely for 3 months and had wonderful results. Then I stopped for 6 months. Now I'm starting again. This is like trying to boil water by heating it for a few minutes, then letting it cool, then heating it again. The water never boils. Spiritual progress requires consistency. It requires daily practice, whether you feel like it or not, whether you have time or not, whether you are inspired or not. The devotee who meditates every single day, even if only for 15 minutes, will progress far beyond the one who meditates intensely but irregularly. Why is consistency so important? Because you are trying to establish new patterns in consciousness, new grooves in the brain, new habits of the soul. This requires repetition, repetition, repetition. Just as a river carves a canyon through rock by flowing consistently over thousands of years, so does consistent practice carve a channel in your consciousness through which divine grace can flow. I tell you a secret. God responds to regularity. When you meditate at the same time each day, you create an appointment with the divine. The cosmic forces align to support your practice. Your body and mind learn to cooperate. The resistance diminishes, and gradually, meditation becomes as natural and necessary as breathing. Make a vow today: I will meditate every single day for the rest of my life, no matter what. Not as a burden, not as a duty, but as a joyful opportunity to commune with your beloved. Let nothing, no circumstance, no excuse, no distraction, break this sacred commitment. The obstacle number 6, lack of discrimination. Following every teacher and teaching. In this age of information, seekers are bombarded with spiritual teachings from every direction. One teacher says this, another says that. One path emphasizes devotion, another emphasizes knowledge, yet another emphasizes service. And the confused seeker runs from one to another, never going deep with any single teaching. This is like digging many shallow wells instead of one deep well. You may dig 100 shallow wells and never find water, while one deep well will give you an endless supply. Similarly, you must choose your path and go deep with it. You must find a true guru and follow that guru's teachings with unwavering loyalty. But how do you know which path to follow? How do you recognize a true teacher? This requires discrimination, viveka, as we call it in Sanskrit. You must use your intelligence, your intuition, and your heart together. Does this teaching lead to greater love, greater peace, greater selflessness? Does this teacher embody the qualities they teach? Do you feel your soul responding with recognition when you encounter this path? Once you have found your path and your teacher through sincere discrimination, then stick with it. Do not be like the butterfly that flits from flower to flower, never gathering enough nectar from any single flower. Go deep. Practice the techniques you are given with full commitment. Study the teachings thoroughly, and trust that if you dig deep enough in one place, you will find the universal truth that underlies all genuine spiritual paths. This does not mean you should be narrow-minded or disrespectful of other paths. All true paths lead to the same summit, but you must choose one trail and follow it to the top, rather than constantly switching trails and never making progress. The obstacle number 7, impatience, expecting instant enlightenment. Oh, how the modern mind wants everything immediately. You want instant coffee, instant communication, instant gratification, and yes, instant enlightenment. But I must tell you truthfully, the spiritual path requires patience, persistence, and perseverance. You have accumulated karma over countless lifetimes. You have developed habits of consciousness over millions of years of evolution. Do you think all of this can be undone in a few weeks or months of meditation? Be reasonable. Even the greatest saints required years of intense practice to achieve liberation. But here is the paradox. While you must be patient with the process, you must also practice with intensity and urgency. You must have the patience of a saint and the intensity of a warrior. You must say, I will practice patiently for as long as it takes, but I will practice with such devotion and concentration that I compress lifetimes of progress into this single lifetime. Impatience creates tension, and tension blocks the flow of divine grace. When you are impatient, you are essentially telling God, you are not working fast enough for me. This is ego, not devotion. Instead, surrender to divine timing. Trust that everything is unfolding perfectly. Practice with full effort, then release the results to God. I often tell my students, meditate as if everything depends on your effort, then surrender as if everything depends on God's grace. This is the balance. This is the way to avoid the obstacle of impatience while maintaining the intensity necessary for spiritual progress. The obstacle number 8, neglecting the body, forgetting that the temple must be maintained. Some spiritual seekers make the mistake of thinking that because they are seeking the eternal soul, they can neglect the temporary body. This is foolish. The body is the temple in which you worship God. The body is the instrument through which you practice meditation. If the temple is in disrepair, how can you worship effectively? I am not speaking of vanity or excessive concern with physical appearance. I am speaking of basic care, proper diet, adequate exercise, sufficient rest, and maintenance of health. A sick body creates a restless mind, and a restless mind cannot meditate deeply. Eat simple, pure foods. Avoid excessive stimulation from spices, caffeine, and other substances that agitate the nervous system. Practice yoga postures to keep the spine flexible and the energy channels open. Get adequate sleep, but not excessive sleep. Treat your body as a friend and ally on the spiritual path, not as an enemy to be punished or ignored. Remember also that the body is a manifestation of consciousness. As you purify your consciousness through meditation, your body will naturally become healthier and more refined. And as you care for your body properly, your meditation will naturally deepen. They support each other. But do not become obsessed with the body either. Some seekers spend so much time on diet, exercise, and health practices that they have no time left for actual spiritual practice. This is the opposite extreme, equally problematic. Find the middle way. Care for the body sufficiently so that it supports your spiritual practice, then focus your primary attention on the practice itself. The obstacle number 9. Isolation. Trying to reach God alone. The final obstacle I wish to warn you about is the tendency to isolate yourself from spiritual community. Some seekers think, I will meditate alone. I don't need other devotees. I don't need a spiritual community. I will reach God by myself. This is a mistake. While it is true that ultimately each soul must make its own journey to God, the support of fellow seekers is invaluable. When you gather with other devotees, your combined spiritual vibrations create a powerful force that lifts everyone higher. When you are struggling, others can encourage you. When you are confused, others can offer perspective. When you are weak, others can strengthen you. Moreover, serving in a spiritual community helps you overcome selfishness and ego. It teaches you patience, tolerance, and unconditional love. It gives you opportunities to practice the spiritual principles you are learning in meditation. Theory without practice is incomplete, and spiritual community provides the laboratory where you can test and refine your understanding. I am not saying you should constantly surround yourself with people. Solitude is also necessary. Time alone with God, time for deep meditation, time for inner reflection. But balance solitude with community. Come together regularly with fellow seekers to meditate, to study, to serve, to share the journey. And if you are blessed to find a true spiritual community, a sangha of sincere devotees walking the path together, treasure it. Such communities are rare and precious. They are oases in the desert of worldly consciousness, places where you can drink deeply from the waters of divine love and be refreshed for the journey ahead. Conclusion. The path forward. Beloved ones, I have shared these 9 obstacles with you not to discourage you, but to arm you with knowledge. Forewarned is forearmed, as they say. Now that you know these pitfalls, you can watch for them in your own practice and avoid them. But do not become obsessed with obstacles. Do not spend all your time worrying about what might go wrong. Instead, focus on what you must do right. Meditate daily with devotion. Love God with all your heart. Serve others selflessly, and surrender everything to the divine will. The path to enlightenment is challenging, yes, but it is also filled with joy, beauty, and grace beyond description. Every step forward brings new revelations, new blessings, new reasons to be grateful. And I promise you this. If you practice sincerely, consistently, and devotedly, you will reach the goal. It may take time, but you will reach it. God's promise is sure. So begin today. Begin now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Not when conditions are perfect, now. Sit for meditation. Offer your heart to God. Take one step on the path, then another, And know that I am with you, my guru is with you, the entire line of masters is with you, And most of all, God Himself is with you, guiding you home to the eternal freedom that is your birthright. May the blessings of God and the Masters be with you always. May you overcome every obstacle and reach the supreme goal of God realization in this very lifetime. In divine friendship, Paramahansa Yogananda.